What's going on, everybody? It's the Hook Cam back again with another film preview prediction. This one is going to be all about how the Kansas City Chiefs can slow down Josh Allen. And that is not an easy task to do. Josh Allen has really come onto the scene. In my eyes, he's gone from a kid who is insanely athletic, who can throw a ball really far, to being a legitimate quality NFL starter and somebody who's going to be at the helm for the Buffalo Bills for the foreseeable future. He's a very, very good quarterback, very, very talented. I think that his football smarts impress me more so than I thought they would. I think that's really the only area of his game that I would say he needs to work on. Maybe a couple other issues, but besides that, his arm talent is out of this world. I mean, he's got comparable arm talent to Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, there's some differences between the two, but when it comes to slinging the rock, he's up there with the best of them. So how can the Kansas City Chiefs slow down this offense? I'm going to dive into all of that in just 1 second. First, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, help support the channel, go ahead and share my stuff if you so please. That would mean the absolute world to me. One other guy got a plug, two actually. Jackson Kruger Sports, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to his channel and to all of his stuff. He's been pumping out videos left and right. And then my music guy, Max Keys, I'm going to put his stuff in the description down below. If you like music, if you're a YouTuber and want background music, I'm sure he would be happy to help you out. One of my good friends, I watch UFC with him every Saturday, and we are fired up for McGregor Poirier, but that is a different story. Now, diving into how the Kansas City Chiefs can stop or slow down Josh Allen, because let's be honest here, with Josh Allen, you're never truly going to stop him, right? You're never going to hold him to under 100, 100, 150 yards a game. It's going to be more about slowing him down and trying to mess with how he works, right? All of this starts, in my opinion, with slowing down their running game on first down. And we look back at this Chiefs-Bills game from week 5 or 6, I can't remember when, and the Chiefs did a really good job of defending the running game in this game. Really where I saw them win was on the edges of this defense and at the guard position, right? They did a really good job when they were matched up with guards of beating guys one-on-one. Now we look at a play like this, and Buffalo loves their gap scheme, right? They love their power, they love their ISO, they love their counter. All of that stuff is bread and butter stuff for Buffalo. Now they'll mix in a little bit of zone too, a little inside zone, little wide zone, absolutely. With this play though, really simple, right? We're just getting your classic power right here. These two are working there. I believe these two actually might be working here. We're pulling for this dude, but where we lose is at the edge of this defense, right? We look at Sorensen right here. Anytime you've got a dude like Sorensen on a receiver, you got to win that. He does a great job, right? We're squeezing all of this, and one thing I will say, when there is a lot of gap scheme runs, defenders can do a really good job of squeezing gaps and forcing backs to bounce it, right? Now in this situation right here, we're squeezing this gap, so this back, if he's going to have any success, he's going to have to bounce it. He tries to keep this thing a gap, which is exactly what backs are taught to do. Sorensen's going to come in right here and make the play. Really, really good job on that. This is where you can get that first step in stopping Josh Allen, right? And like I said, where's the strength of this Kansas City defense? In my opinion, it's at the edges of this defense, right? Yes, absolutely, Chris Jones is a stud, but when you look at the Alex Okafors, the Taco Charlton, who doesn't get a ton of playing time, but still a key piece for them, and then, of course, Frank Clark, those guys attack every play with some serious tenacity and some serious violence. Those dudes are very, very attributable to why this Chiefs defense does a good job of slowing down this running game. Really quickly, this play by the Bills is super, super cool. I just have to point this out. They're running some sort of wide zone here, but they're doing it almost like a little pin and pull. And I've seen this a couple of times before, right? But what you do with this, and this is, again, just a little sidetrack for the Bills. We're working here, we're pulling around, we're working up to this backer, and we're cutting this 3-tech with 81, our H, and it creates a natural cutback. Super cool. But back to the Chiefs. Where are they winning on this play? They're winning at the guard position. They do their technique is outstanding. Chris Jones is obviously a freak. We all know what he's capable of. But the other guys, the Derek Notties, right? We do a great job with our technique on this. Okay, we're centered up with this guard. He doesn't have us one one way or the other. Our eyes in the backfield. As soon as 26 tries to make that cut inside, we shed, we make that play. It is a phenomenal job by this kid, right? And he's done a really good job with the Chiefs ever since he signed before. Mike Pennell is another guy with Kansas City who's done an outstanding job ever since he's got there. They do a really good job of controlling guards and controlling, and like when you think about it, right? When you're playing a gap scheme team, if you can control the guards, and when these guys pull, you follow and you're fighting across face, that can mess up a game plan, right? We look at 98 on this play, right? We're working over the top. This is a great job right here. We're trying to bounce this. Matthews working to the outside. He's got no choice but to kind of hang behind his offensive lineman. 57's able to chase him down, Alex Okafor. I mean, this is a great job by Okafor on this, right? We're working inside, and this is what I'm talking about. These guys attack everything with violence, tenacity, every play. They're well coached. They're well schemed up. This is what they do. Now, why does stopping the Bills on first down help to alleviate pressure on the rest of the downs you're going to play them, right? If you make that offense stop on first down, okay, now it's 2nd and 8, chances are the Bills are going to reach into their bag of tricks and they're going to try and throw the football, right? When you can force incompletions, you force 3rd and longs, essentially, is what I'm getting at. Now, how do you get Josh Allen off his game? This is a 3rd and long, and the Chiefs love to bring pressure on 3rd and long. This is what they do. They did this against Josh Allen the first time they played, and this to me is a huge reason as to why they were able to beat the Bills the first time, right? Because you bring heat when you play Josh Allen. You bring heat, you get Josh Allen off of his launch point, you're going to force some bad throws, okay? Which is exactly what they do here. Bring heat early in the game, okay? When you look at this front up top, right, we got our 4 defensive linemen right here. We bring up our 2 backers into this double A gap look. We're going to bring heat with both of them. You don't have enough offensive linemen. You keep him in to max protect Frank Clark. He's got no choice to work there. This guard doesn't see that backer coming, and obviously we force Josh Allen to move to his left. That's a tough throw to make, right? So you bring heat, you push Josh Allen off of his launch point. That's going to help you out tremendously. Here we go, 2nd down, right? Now, what I noticed with the Chiefs is that on 2nd down, they don't like to bring as much pressure. They'll save that for 3rd. But what they do on 2nd down, especially 2nd down and long, is they love to bring stunts with their defensive line, right? That's something that's really going to help them out. And once again, where are they winning on a play like this? I think that I put in the end zone of this as well. They win at the guard position. This is the thing with the Kansas City Chiefs. They win when they're one-on-one with guards, right? Chris Jones is one of the better pass rushers in this league. Look at him work right around this guard. Really good job with his hands, right? He works on the outside edge of this guard. Guard doesn't move his feet, so he ends up opening up that door with his hips right there. Boom. We get that arm right under this dude's elbow, push him right away, and now Josh Allen is scrambling. Now he's got to try and make a play. On the backside of this thing, your defensive back, we have to be solid with our coverage. We can't let guys go. We can't get our eyes lost in the backfield, right? And I'll get into the Josh Allen scrambling factor in a little bit. But once again here, what do we see? 3rd down and long. I believe 3rd down and 6 or 7, whatever it is. We're bringing heat. We're bringing heat with the Kansas City Chiefs. That's what you do to get Josh Allen off of his game, get him off his launch point. There are going to be guys open. Absolutely. You look at the Chiefs and this is the thing, right? When you bring heat as a quarterback, what are you looking to do? Try to throw my hot. So you got to hit 26 right now. But Josh Allen, a lot of times, sometimes he hangs on to this football too long, right? I'm a Josh Allen guy. I love Josh Allen. Kid's an absolute stud. He's a funny dude. Love watching him do well. But some things that will mess with him is when you bring heat and you force him off of his launch point, right? When you do that, it forces him to get off balance. And yes, he does have the arm talent to get there, but maybe sometimes his upstairs isn't working as fast, right? So in this situation right here, we're bringing heat, but we're bringing it from weird angles. This is another thing that the Chiefs do that I'll get at later. And this is something that Josh Allen struggled with in this game. They were bringing heat with dudes on the outsides who are over receivers, or they're apexed in between a tackle and a receiver. Well, we bring him in a situation like this, and Josh Allen's got nowhere to go. Look at Chris Jones is going to stop his rush, but we're going to keep going with Tyrann Mathieu. Maybe you want to switch that around because we know how Josh Allen can scramble, but you see what I'm saying. You bring pressure, you get him off his launch point, you get him a little worried. Okay, I'm not saying that he's scared or anything like that. Don't take it personally. I'm just saying if I was scheming this guy up, this is what I would do. I would bring pressure. I would try and collapse that pocket. I would try to work him out of the pocket, which is exactly what the Chiefs are doing, right? Here we go again. Another 3rd down pressure. Chiefs love doing stuff like this, right? Here's your 1 tech or your 2-eye, whatever you want to call it. He's in the gap, technically. He works across face of the center. That's going to bring the center with him. Well, when the center works with him, that's going to open up a gap, right? So we stunt on the back side of this thing. We're working upfield, and all we're doing is forcing Josh Allen to throw through a bunch of traffic up front, right? And we're creating one-on-one matchups. We're creating offensive linemen having to think. And once again, we're beating these guys at the guard position. That is where the Chiefs, I think, are going to really put pressure on Josh Allen. That's the only place you can, right? He's too good of a playmaker to let him sit back there and throw the football. You can't do that in football anymore. Quarterbacks are too good, plain and simple. Okay. Now with this situation right here, this is what I'm talking about with bringing pressure from weird angles. Okay. Tyrann Mathieu at the top of the screen right here. As a quarterback, you're going to look at this and you're going to see him, and he's apexed in between this receiver and this tackle. You're thinking that he's probably going to wall off too. Maybe he's working a hook curl, right? But no, we bring pressure with this, especially when it's on a play action. This is a great call, man. This is a great call. This is first and 10. But you get what I'm saying, right? Bring pressure in weird situations, bring pressure out of weird angles, and I think that you're going to be able to get Josh Allen. Like I said, force this dude to think, get him out of his game, get him off his launch point. You're going to force some bad passes from the young buck. And to be honest, that I think is the one knock on Josh Allen so far, is that he's young. And it's really not a knock. It's just something that he's going to get better with it. Josh Allen in 3 years is going to, he still is a stud right now, but he's going to be even better at that point, right? Here we go with empty. Just a quick thing. Whenever they go empty, right, Chiefs are going to end up working some sort of stunt. Like I said, creating those one-on-one matchups. They love doing this with Chris Jones and Frank Clark, right, where they're going to work Chris Jones up through this tackle, and then they're going to loop Frank Clark underneath. I love doing stuff like this because a lot of times this dude working upfield really creates that pocket, and when you create that pocket, quarterback's going to step up right into the looper. A really good job in this situation. This is a good job blocking it from the Bills, but again, it gets Josh Allen kind of trying to throw a weird angle on that. They're doing a good job with their coverage. You're going to end up working them into a mistake. Now, the other thing that I've seen teams do to Josh Allen is they mix up what they do, right? Maybe it looks like on 3rd and long, it looks like we're going to bring heat, but we're actually dropping guys. This is just a good example of that against the Titans. Looks to me from the end zone of this thing, and again, this isn't like a bad ball or anything. This is just an example that I wanted to show you guys, not necessarily the result. This ball should be caught. Absolutely going to agree with that. But pre-snap, it looks like they're bringing heat. They drop 8, and they're forcing Josh Allen to throw into a spot maybe he's not as comfortable throwing into. So the last thing that I want to talk about with Josh Allen is obviously his ability to scramble. Just a couple more examples of this. I guess I was a little over-prepared with this one. Now, with Josh Allen being able to scramble, right, the plays that I picked is his designed runs. Usually when quarterbacks can scramble, you're going to spy a backer. You're going to have him work in front of 3. If 3 is going deeper, then you work him back and he's going to spy, stuff like that. But in situations like this, right, where they're running just straight up read option, right, they're reading this dude. I believe they whiff this guy where he works around. Yeah, this dude's just got to be a freak athlete. And once again, like I said, the strength of this defense is the edges of this defense to me. Frank Clark, Alex Okafor, those guys are absolute studs. DePassanio will get some reps out there as well. These dudes are athletic enough to work inside out with Josh Allen, right? You see as we're trying to work inside out there, a little move from 17, but we're still working him outside, trying to get him to bounce this thing because he's going to string this play out. And then also we got dudes working over the top. Of course, we're going to have a defensive back on a receiver usually out there who's going to be able to come up and make the play as well. So those are some things that I think are going to work in the Chiefs' favor. Now, the other thing the Bills will do is they love running their gap scheme stuff out of this, right? This is just a really simple Q counter, okay? That's what I would call this at least. They pull their guard and their tackle. They're working what looks to be like a power read this way. They're kind of false keying a little bit with that, right? Josh Allen's just working over there, and then he's going to keep this thing backside. Now on the backside of it, and this is a really good play, don't get me wrong. It takes a lot to be able to beat this thing, but Frank Clark can't get worked in on this. He has to stay firm on this edge, right? When you see this, he steps down too far, and it makes it easy for this offensive lineman to work around, work to that upfield shoulder. I always call this log 'em. When I'm coaching up guards, I tell them, hey, if that dude's too far inside, we got to log around this thing and we're going to run around it, which is exactly what this guard does. It's exactly what Josh Allen does, and he picks up a good 6 or 7 yards with it. When you do that, you have to be much firmer on this edge, and you have to try and spill this thing, right? So we have to come down flat down the line of scrimmage, or not exactly flat, but a little bit upfield. But essentially what you're trying to do is wrong arm this, right? So when you wrong arm it, this offensive lineman has to go around as well, and then we also bubble this running back. But you can see he's a little too far into the line of scrimmage. We log around that. Good play from him. Got to be a little bit. You have to, and again, that's stuff that you coach up, and that's not necessarily different between a quarterback power and when you're running power with a back. Not necessarily different at all. It's just what you need to do whenever you see that guard pulling. The other thing that they'll do is a little Q ISO, and when the Bills run stuff like this, it's really hard to defend because when you're running with your quarterback, you gain a blocker with your back, right? We can see right here, we gain this blocker, so we're ISOing going here, and then we gain a blocker as well with this. The biggest thing with this is you got to be firm with your double teams. You can't get moved, and we got to fill right now, right? And this is tough to do because the Bills do a lot offensively to get you off balance. But if you can do stuff like that and you can be prepared for it, from what I know, I mean, they'll run Josh Allen anywhere, though. That's the thing that's tough about it, is that if it's 3rd and short, obviously they're going to run QB sneak with him because he's like 6'7", not 6'7", but he's like 6'5". He's a huge dude. They're not really afraid, but I did notice near the end of the season, obviously you don't want to run your quarterback as much just because of the risk of injury. But that's what I would do if I was the Kansas City Chiefs, right? You got to play great run defense in the beginning, isolate those guards one-on-one, be violent, be technical with the edges of that defense, right? Don't give up any yardage. Play to your strengths, right? Try and keep everything working into the middle of the field, into those big dogs up front, and then coverage-wise, right? Let's mix up our coverages. Let's get them thinking pre-snap. Show 2 high, roll into 3. Show 1 high, roll into 2, or roll into 4, which is what a lot of teams will do. Bracket their deepest receiver, stuff like that. I think is going to throw Josh Allen off his game a little bit. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. That's what I would do if I was the Kansas City Chiefs trying to scheme up this high-powered Buffalo Bills offense. So if you enjoyed, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to my channel, The Hook Cam, as well as the Jackson Kruger Sports, and then also checking out my boy Max Keys. Put his stuff in the description below. That's all I got for you guys today. I'll be back in the week with some more content. Until then, stay safe, wash those hands, and I'll see you next time.